Texas Republicans may have fired the first shot in this mid-decade gerrymandering, but unfortunately for them, it landed squarely in their own dumb foot. And despite that, more gerrymandering is happening. And Virginia Democrats are poised to land a major blow in Mike Johnson's continued bid to maintain control of the House. This is like maybe the most clear electoral F around and find out I've seen, because Texas started it. And then California bounced the scales. And now Virginia has a proposed map that is so aggressive that even Johnny Damage, I'm not sure how I feel about this. Because can we show the current districts? And then below you'll see the proposed districts. Now, if you just glance at that, it looks like, oh, there's some blue on the east and there's some red on the west, but it's not the same distribution. So the new map would draw 8 safely Democratic districts, 2 competitive districts that still lean Democratic, and 1 safe Republican district, okay? The current map is 6 Democrats, 5 Republicans. It is entirely possible, not even in a wave election, that the new map could be 9 Democrats and 1 Republican, or 10 and 1, I think it would be. So they would be effectively taking away maybe 4 Republican seats in Virginia alone. And so on the one hand, they started it. And the stakes are so high that the Democrats should use whatever tool they have, especially a tool that the Republicans are actively using right now. And on the third hand, I guess, it's only gonna be through insane gerrymandering like this that we get the Republicans to finally yell uncle and allow independent redistricting to stop all this partisan nonsense. But that said, Brett, it is a really aggressive gerrymander. What do you think about it?
The one thing that really jumps to mind when we look at those districts, the new district, is all those maps that you see from your aunt's Facebook page where she like shares maps of like the amount of land that voted for Trump.
Yeah.
If you gerrymander this way, you can change that so it looks more representative of the total population, where you just sliver your way into cities so that like the city has like 5 points of borders meeting on those districts, and then they fan out like giant pizza slices into the pastures.
Yeah.
And then this would be more representative. What are the consequences of this? I don't know exactly what kinds of quote Democrats are in there, what
That's
people
true.
are classifying as likely Democratic voters, especially in a period of what is to a lot of us very obvious realignment, where folks slide in and out of parties just because of, who's the incumbent or what part of Americana they tap into message-wise, right? Like you got a lot of folks that may have voted Republican who are like, Trump is indecent and I can't vote for him because he's not a decent person. And then you have a lot of folks that you would have considered maybe like unionized blue collar workers that slid into Trump's DM, that Trump slid into their DMs being like, I'm just gonna use vibes in order to advocate that you vote for me. I don't know what the long-term repercussions are. It seems like a minor wind can blow more districts to one side or the other in the gerrymandered maps as we've seen them. That's been seemingly true in Texas and seems true here in Virginia. What does this lead to? There's a bunch of maps from like the Reagan years and when Mondale ran that were like something you wouldn't ever consider possible in America, which is like true landslide electoral maps. I know it's a state, electoral map versus like a county-wide electoral map, but it's in terms of like representation in the House of Representatives, I think this does make it more democratic in a weird way that you can have a landslide in a gerrymandered, in certain gerrymanders that doesn't affect anything because they've already just carved out truly fortified districts. But if there are more light blue areas on the map than dark blue, or light red areas on the map than dark red, then it seems like the electoral map and Congress is more affected by what people think of the current administration and their incumbent representatives. And so this attempt to make it less democratic, maybe it turns out being more democratic.
Yeah. Yeah, people should definitely go look back at it. You referenced some of the past landslides that were true landslides. Donald Trump, we saw that preview of the interview that's going to come out this weekend. He said that he won a landslide in 2024. He literally didn't even get 50% of the popular vote. And that's what's supposed to pass for landslide. We used to have these serious conversations coming out of elections about whether someone has a mandate or not. I think we should bring that back. I think people should present all the 37% polls that he's at and be like, you have whatever the dark opposite of a mandate is. You should be desperately sucking up to the American people. A woe mandate.
Or a boy date, I don't know.
I guess is what it would be. And I don't remember what point I was gonna make now because of that thing. But anyway, yeah, the things aren't looking great for them. And but by the way, this map is not set in stone that this is what it's gonna be. It can still be challenged. It's not like the California and Texas ones, which have already been adjudicated by the Supreme Court. So perhaps this one won't work, but the Supreme Court has indicated that they're giving wide latitude to states to do whatever the hell they want. So just bear that in mind. Okay, with that said, we have one more related aspect of this. Republicans running for Congress in the current race are sort of looking at the wall and they're seeing the writing there and they know that this doesn't look great for them. Many Republicans are choosing not to run for re-election, and some of those who were up until very recently running have decided, nope, this actually isn't gonna work for me. And one is Jennifer Ruth Green, who had been running in Indiana's 1st congressional district and decided it's basically impossible at this point. And that's not like our speculation about her motivations. She's being very clear that it's about the competitiveness of the map. And what she's angry about is where it really gets funny. So she put out this statement saying, Indiana's legislature sadly chose not to redistrict Indiana congressional map to counter Democrats' egregious gerrymander. Yeah, it's us. We started this whole thing, not Greg Abbott, not the Republicans in Texas, it was us. Anyway, it says, and their counting of illegal immigrants in the census, which by the way is just how the Constitution works. If you have an issue with it, go talk to Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin. I don't want to hear it. Anyway, she says Indiana 01 remains an extremely difficult seat for a Republican to compete in and win. With your help, we ran a strong race in 2022 and put this district on the map. Having been through it once, I understand the harsh reality. To win this seat, there is no margin for error, which sounds like a lot of, it's tough, I don't think I can do it. Just try harder. Come up with some ideas. Come up with a platform. Give a speech. Have an ad. Like, she's basically saying they were supposed to come in here and rig it so that I could easily win. They didn't do that, and now it's just a lot of work and I don't want to do it. Okay, then yeah, then you probably shouldn't be running, I suppose. Or you could just drop out and not bitch about it on the way out, but she's doing both. Remember, Indiana's the state that we'd previously talked about that received a lot of pressure from Trump to gerrymander, and they declined to do so. And look, I don't think that they're declining to do so because like they're just great people. They don't think it's gonna actually benefit them. And they might be right about that. And I will remind everyone, Texas thought they were so slick with their big gerrymander, and maybe it's gonna end up helping them. Maybe the Republicans get some more seats out of it. But maybe, and the special elections have provided some data in this regard, maybe they assumed way too much coming out of the 2024 election, and maybe a lot of what they assumed isn't actually gonna hold true, and maybe their gerrymander is actually gonna screw over a lot of the Republicans in Texas, and maybe some other Republican states don't want to do the same thing. So individual candidates can whine all they want. This is a party problem, and this is also a Donald Trump problem. He's gotten them in the difficult position that they're in. Brett, what do you think?
Dearest Jennifer Ruth Green, didn't you win? Like, is this the incumbent Jennifer Ruth Green, or is this?
She said they put it on the map in 2022. She says
Indiana's legislature sadly chose not to redistrict Indiana congressional map to counter Democrats' egregious gerrymandering. Okay, let me tell you something about Indiana's map. Republicans got somewhere between 55 and 60% of the vote statewide
in 2024.
And they have 78% of the representation in Congress.
Wait, Brett. That makes it seem as if it's already partisanly gerrymandered.
It is already partisanly gerrymandered in favor of Republicans. They were plotting to do the unprecedented action of gerrymandering again in the middle of a cycle.
They wanted to double dip their chip.
They wanted to double dip their chip. And you don't have to be George Costanza or the guy that invented kushikatsu to realize you don't double dip. Period.
What is kushikatsu?
Oh, John, I'm afraid to tell you. Do you like mozzarella sticks?
Everyone likes mozzarella
What
sticks.
if you applied that same mechanic of breading and deep frying to every kind of food you can imagine? And then you
I think I'd work at a county fair.
You dip it in a community Worcestershire sauce.
Okay, you might have lost me with that, but
It
the rest of it sounded
bad.
pretty good.
But it's not, John.
By the way, so anyway, we'll end with this. This is the current, like, the seats that we believe will be affected with the various gerrymanders. This is lacking some stuff if you bring this up. So Virginia's not on there, which could potentially get the Democrats like 4 more seats. The Texas ones, again, might not be 5 additional seats for the Republicans. This could still all end up benefiting the Republicans. I'm not going to gaslight you and say that that's not possible, but it could also massively blow up in their face, which would be delightful.